Hey Legionnaires, and welcome back. We're here with another Dawnless Days video for you here today, and instead of a battle, we do have a bit of a overview and a bit of an update for Gondor. And yes, you might be thinking, Gondor, Pope? You sure? You sure you've woken up correctly? Like here today? You sure you're not still needing to, maybe just get yourself another coffee, maybe have another look at what you're looking at? But yes, we do have the dwarves here in a Gondor update video, and it's Fiefs of Gondor, so it's not, or Fiefs of Gondor. I always pronounce it wrong. People always say in the comments, you got it wrong, Pope. So it's Fiefs or Fiefs of Gondor. I can never remember which one it is. I think it's Fiefs. But anyway, we are here with a Fiefs of Gondor update, and we have a whole bunch of new factions. There are 3 factions we've got to get through here today, so I might try and fly through these a little bit quicker, so you guys can have a look at what you're getting yourself, what you're going to be offered in this it's amazing mod. It is a mod that a lot of people play. Pinnath Gelin, Anfalas, and Blackroot Vale have all been added to, and we are looking, I believe, first at Blackroot Vale, which, to be honest, is the one that looks the most interesting to start with, so I thought I'd start with this one, and then we'll work around to some of the other ones as well. But yeah, we do have the dwarves in the Blackroot Vale's roster here today. I'm not really sure why, but this is the Jabal Company? I don't know, I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly. But yeah, it's a dwarven sword unit. Someone, I'm sure, can explain the lore. Maybe the devs can explain the lore as to why there are dwarves in the Blackroot Vale. I'm not sure myself, but yeah, they're in here anyway. We have dwarves. And it's the cheapest and least effective sword that is available. Still 31 melee attack, though. And I mean, like, a low-tier dwarf unit's pretty solid. 95 health. And yeah, 40 armor there is pretty solid. But yeah, like I said, we're going to fly through these here today. We kind of here to look more at the units themselves. But yeah, we have the Blackroot Vale Vanguard. Very, very cool. I think they're getting rid of like the whole idea of having like knights. Like dismounted knights with swords and dismounted knights with spears. And they're all going to just have names and stuff like that. So factions aren't maybe so well rounded and do have some weaknesses, which I'm a big fan of. But yeah, Blackroot Vale Vanguard tier 3 medium melee infantry. It's got 40 melee attack, 80 health, so a little bit less health than those dwarves. A lot more morale though. But yeah, and also a bit of ammo as well. Kanjavi, I imagine, as well, which is always nice to see. And then the final sword unit we have here is a very, very cool unit. Look at this. This looks awesome. This kind of looks, I don't know, it looks like an evil knight from maybe like a 1980s sort of like medieval sort of film. I feel like it looks great. But yeah, the Keepers of the Stone, a very, very cool looking unit. 40 melee attack, 165 morale. That is insane. Armor at 65, health 85. But yeah, it's a tier 4 very heavy melee infantry unit. That is an insane amount of armor. Sorry, morale. So I imagine these guys are fighting to the last man, the Keepers of the Stone. Very, very cool unit. But yeah, that is all the swords here for show. An interesting dwarven one, that's for sure, thrown in there as well. Like I said, don't know what they're in there for. But yeah, we're going to move on to the, I think it's this axes next, actually, not the spears. The axes next, so I'll see you guys in a moment. Okay, now this is getting silly. I thought there was one, not going to be 2 dwarven units. We have another dwarven unit here, and these guys look a bit like miners. They've got very silly, candles on their heads. Looks very, very fun. But we have the Ketchel Miners. It's a tier 2 light shock infantry unit. Melee attack 39. Health 95, which is pretty solid. But I mean, they have no armor, so it kind of counteracts their 20 armor. And yeah, no missile block chance. But yeah, again, I'm not sure what the lore is for this. Why we have dwarves in Gondor. Someone, I'm sure, can explain it to me. But yeah, there you go. That is the only shock infantry, actually, as well, by the way, in Blackroot Vale's roster, is a dwarven unit. The other axe units that we have here today are, in fact, just like typical axe units here. So with the San Eric Market Guard, which look pretty cool. I quite like the look of these guys. Look like a generic sort of like medieval sort of sergeant or men-at-arms, just kind of given like a padded jacket. Some mail. I got a shield going on there. This guy's going for a little flowery look. Love that for him. It's 2025. You do what you want, man. But yeah, 30 melee attack, health 80, yeah, missile block chance 20, armor 40. It's a heavy axe unit technically, but it is tier 2. Morale is down at 40. It's 47. It's not bad, not great. I mean, that's not even base. Actually, base is 36. But yeah, pretty solid unit. it's going to probably be of some use, I'd imagine. Then over here we do have the Morning's Darkwater Watch, which is not really an axe unit either. They've got maces, but it is technically in the axe sort of category. This is the typical sort of look for Blackroot Vale with this helmet that's going on here. So this is what their more elite units look like. Blackroot Vale does have this helmet in base game for their archers that are in Gondor's roster. But yeah, 31 melee attack. It's only slightly more than the axes, I believe. Yeah, only one more than the axe. But I guess maybe better armor piercing. Yeah, bonus versus infantry, I guess 6. So I guess that's what the mace is doing. Morale also looks like it's going to be, yeah, so similar, sort of 36. Missile block 38, armor 35. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty solid. It's not like a bad unit. It's not like a great unit, I wouldn't say. Most axe infantry, I just feel like it's not that great. I feel like it's a bit lacking, and I want to see axe infantry be good again. As people keep putting in the comments, make Eastlings great again. They have a lot of axe infantry that needs to be improved, in my opinion. So, yeah, make these guys great again. But that's all the axes and the shock infantry showed off there. I should also add, if you're enjoying these sorts of videos and Dawnless Days content, I want to see more, Lord of the Rings action. Do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're around here, and a comment show support. It really does help out the channel. And if you haven't checked out the Fiefs of Gondor submod, I'll leave a link for it in the description. It's definitely worth checking out. It got updated like a week ago. I did promise, in fairness, that I was going to cover it. Never got around to it because I was busy with moving. But we have finally had a look at it, and it is like, coming out slowly and surely. So they're doing chunks of the mod, and it looks like it's a new team that are involved in it now, and they're looking to update it. So they've done 3 factions already, and they have got a bit of a plan for different areas of Gondor that they're going to do. So I think this is like Western Gondor that's all been done, and I presume they'll do like Southern Gondor at some point, and Northern Gondor and Central Gondor. And then there's like the Royal Army as well, which is like Gondor, like Minas Tirith and Osgiliath. But yeah, that is all the axe infantry. We'll now move on to the spears and the polearms. So here we are with the spears. You really thought it was going to be a Dwarven spear, didn't you? After seeing the first 2 units for the other 2 categories, you thought this was going to be a Dwarven spear. But no, it is a Mannish spear. So there's no more Dwarven units as far as I'm aware. So spoilers there. You can turn off if you want to. But yeah, no more Dwarves in this Gondor update. But we do have the Ninfern Patrol. So it's a heavy spear unit, tier 2. It's got all greens as well. Excellent melee defense, average melee attack, average missile block. Yeah, so that's a pretty good all-rounded unit. So this would be probably pretty good for your bang for your buck, to be honest. Like melee attack 25, not great in fairness, but melee defense 55, weapon damage 32. Morale's looking like it's going to be around that sort of like same average of 36. Missile block at 38. But yeah, a health at 80. I mean, that's a pretty solid unit, to be honest, the Ninfern Patrol. Big fan of that unit, to be fair. But there are better ones available on the market, and this is one of them. So again, looking a bit like the Keepers of the Stone, but a spear variant. So they haven't quite got rid of like the whole dismounted knight variant with sword and spear. It looks like we do have them here with the Borderman of Tarlang's Neck. So yeah, these guys pretty much just like the sword, the Keepers of the Stone, sorry, but they are just a spear variant. But yeah, they've got some pretty good stats as well. They don't have the insane morale, though, that the sword variant does. They only have 59 morale. Their health 85, because they're a tier 4, so they get a little bit more of that. Missile block 45, armor 55, so I think that's lower than the swords as well, actually. Melee defense 65, and yeah, melee attack 35 as well, and the same weapon damage. But yeah, a pretty solid unit. Don't know if I'm a fan of them looking exactly the same, but maybe this is just kind of what like the tier 4, they just decided like tier 4 units all have the same armor, which kind of makes sense in a way, I guess. Like Gondor spears, Gondor swords, like in base game, look the same, and with that, and we're fine with that. So I don't see why actually they couldn't just look, they couldn't just have the same armor anyway and just change to a sword or a spear. So yeah, that's a really cool unit. I'm a big fan of this armor. It looks really, really nice, actually. Looks very clean. We do have the polearms here as well. I decided to stick them in. It's the only polearm available in Blackroot Vale's roster. It's the garrison of Morthondost. A bit of a tongue twister, but they have 40 melee attack, 60 armor. I don't know how much morale that is, actually. How much is that? 48 morale base. Speed's still 36, which is kind of insane. I guess that's if the Alder Phalanx. armor at 16, 0 missile block, and 43 melee defense. But yeah, those are all of these spears and the pole arms. It's not a lot of them, just the 3. But now we'll move on to the archers, which is where Blackroot Vale has a lot of options. But yes, Blackroot Vale and archers, that is their bread and butter. We'll start from the worst and we'll work our way up like we always do. And there are a lot of different options. I've also thrown in javelins into this range as well. And there's another special unit that is also a range unit in this one. We got the Daen Bowman. I'm probably butchering that name, but yeah, this is like the cheap militia archers that you're probably going to be getting. 200 range, 18 ammunition, which I think actually that's more than if you were to play with a vanilla like bow unit. I think a vanilla bow unit, like if you brought like a Gondor bow militia, has 16 ammo, and I think that's the same for most bows in vanilla. So it's why I guess they couldn't really balance. Like these factions shouldn't really be playing against base game factions because he has more ammo. He has 2 more rounds. Kind of important actually as well. But yeah, so there you go. So unless that's changed, I think some of the top tier units in base game have, or base mod have 18, but most I think have like 16 rounds. But yeah, there you go, the Daen Bowman. Then over here we have the slightly more, professional looking bowmen here. These are the Blackroot Vale archers. So these are these look pretty much I think like the ones that you can get in base mod. You can see they're 18 ammunition as well, 200 range, health 80. Yeah, the rest of the stats. Their armor 45. I guess is a pretty important one as well. But yeah, they are the Blackroot Vale archers. Looking very nice. Looking like a bit more of a professional unit, that's for sure. And then what do we have here? We have the Nimrods of Ninarian? I don't know, probably butchering that. It's a ranger unit anyway. It's a tier 4, very like bow infantry, but it is a ranger unit. 18 ammo, 40 speed. I guess that is more than most others, but yeah, 200 range, health 98. Very odd choice. But there you go. I would either just gone with 100 or 95 or something like that. But yeah, 98, very precise. 44 melee attack, 40 melee defense, charge bonus 40. Rangers are usually solid in both melee and also shooting. So yeah, very nice all-rounded unit there. Then we have the Imlad Angren archers, which are capped to 2. And yeah, these are a very, very cool unit. And these look like a hybrid unit, to be honest. They've got that shield strapped to their back, ready to go into combat. But yeah, 40 melee attack, 52 melee defense. I guess that's with the shield put on there. Charge bonus 30, so a little bit less than the Rangers. Weapon damage 36. Armor at 60. Morale, that looks pretty solid, 45. Health 85. And 200 range. And then 16 ammo, which is the typical amount that people have. So yeah, so I don't know whether there's a mistake or whether maybe Blackroot Vale might just get more ammo. Maybe that's a faction bonus. To be fair, didn't even take that into consideration. That might be something for them. But yeah, ammo 16. I guess that is probably down because they have sword and shield capabilities. So that is the Imlad Angren Archers. Big fan of them. Do like the look of them. The next unit along is a Javi unit. So yeah, this is the first of the 2 Javi units available. So these are the Blackroot Vale Forest Prowlers. Javis of 6 ammo, speed 38, health 80, 29 melee attack, 45 melee defense, which is not too bad. They have a bit of missile block, 20, 34 morale. But yeah, pretty solid unit. Just like they just got some padded armor there. Going to be sent into battle. Just to probably be hunting down trolls and things like that. And then this is a slightly more elite looking one. It's kind of look like they could be like Normans or something from 1066. They look very cool. But these are the Ninarian Trackers. They have 6 ammo, 70 range, and they have 35 melee attack, 47 melee defense. And yeah, they're a pretty solid unit. They look very, very nice. Big fan of them. Like I said, we're just going to fly through these units and these factions, to be honest. And then what do we have here? We have the Bogwoods Huntsman, which is a bow unit with hounds, which quite a few factions do have, like Dunland and Rudar, I think, have them as well. But yeah, this is now also available in Blackroot Vale's Ross as well. So yeah, very, very cool unit. 27 melee attack, ammo 16 as well, range 175, so less range than the typical archer, but they have a hound, so who cares? They will use those to great effect, I'm sure. And now we'll move on to the cavalry. So in keeping with their bow traditions, the Blackroot Vale have a lot of bow cav available for them. And they're only bow cav, they have no melee cav. So there you go. Not a very good faction if you wanted to use it in a land battle, but in a siege, certainly I feel like it's a good faction to use. But yeah, bow cavalry available. I guess you wouldn't want to use these in the siege, but you don't have any melee capabilities to stop any shock cav or stuff like that. You're definitely going to need another faction to back you up there. We have the Rendell Outriders here, which have 16 ammo, 150 range, speed 95, health 145, melee attack 30, melee defense 30. Yeah, which is not going to hold up against any sort of real solid, melee or even shock cav. So there you go. That is the first of 2 cav units available. The other one is over here, and I think this is a Javi cav, if I remember. Yeah, the light skirmisher cavalry. So they look very, very cool. They look like they could be knights, but they're not. They are Blackroot Vale Rough Riders. They have 30 melee attack, 41 melee defense. That's a lot better than the bow cav. Range of 70 with those 6 Javies available. They have health 145, speed 95. So yeah, very much more of a hit and run sort of faction when it comes to using their cavalry. Definitely going to be relying on range quite a lot. But they do look very much the knight part, I feel like, in this sort of stance. But yeah, they are in fact a Javi cav. And then finally we have the general. This is one of multiple unique generals. I just picked one. But this one is a Durafin. He is a medium melee infantry. Doesn't say what his infantry is, but I presume it's the Vanguard, the Blackroot Vale Vanguard. So he also has Javi capability of 2, which you don't often see with generals that they have Javi capability. But yeah, I think he has similar stats to the Blackroot Vale Vanguard there. But yeah, that is the Blackroot Vale. I'm now going to go back to the army build, or I'll go to the next faction, in fact, probably not to the army build, and I'll show you probably Pinnath Gelin next. So we are back with the second faction. We have Pinnath Gelin here, which is a very different faction to Blackroot Vale, mainly because they're in green and they're excited in comparison to the men of the Blackroot Vale. But yes, they have all different sort of roster, very different sort of style that you'll be playing with. Not a single sword unit in their entire roster. I'll start with that. So yeah, the first unit we're looking at here is actually a shock infantry. Pinnath Gelin Boar Spears. It's a shock infantry unit. Also a spear shock infantry unit. Something we've never really seen in the mod, but very, very cool. 33 melee attack. 35 bonus versus cavalry. Anti-cav, that's for sure. If only you could form square, that'd be even better. 42 melee defense. Charge bonus for 65. But yeah, pretty solid there. Weapon damage 36. But yeah, not a lot of armor though, 45. And 0 missile block chance, and you've got that 80 health as well. The next unit along is another shock infantry unit here. There's the 2 shock infantry units available in the roster. It's a tier 4 one. They look very, very, very nice. I feel like they look less elite than the last ones, the Boar Spears we just looked at. But these are the Kalen Hirost Defenders. They are tier 4 medium shock infantry. 38 melee attack, bonus versus cavalry 35, melee defense 50, charge bonus 75, also that weapon damage 36, armor 50, and they've got 85 health. They've got also 52 morale. Is very, very nice there. But yeah, very different sort of start to this one. The next units we are looking at are axe units, which are just along over here. We have the lowest tier axe unit, which is the Garrison of Anunalond. So yeah, that is this unit here. They've got 28 melee attack, bonus versus infantry 6, health 80, missile block chance 44, armor 40. It's not, I guess, bad. It's not bad for a tier 2 heavy axe, but yeah, they're pretty cheap. You know, probably not going to be brought loads, but you never know. Might need some chaff. But now we're moving on to the more professional looking stuff over here for Pinnath Gelin. We do have the Ramgarlan Heavy Maceman. So this is kind of what Pinnath Gelin is known for, is its Maceman. So yeah, they have 34 melee attack, 55 melee defense, 6 bonus versus infantry again, charge bonus of 30, 80 health, missile block chance 38, and armor 45. Pretty solid unit, that's for sure. I imagine you'll see a lot of these guys being brought. That's for sure if Pinnath Gelin is being brought. Then we have the next unit along, another mace unit here, and I don't know why, but it's kind of giving me like sort of like High Garden vibes. I don't know whether it's just the I've forgotten what the house is called now. Not House Gardener, it's the other guys. That's really I'm really struggling with. But yeah, Lords of Mester. They look very, very nice. Look at all those greens going on. Extra melee defense, extra melee attack, average armor. Yeah, 40 melee attack, 58, sorry, melee defense. Charge bonus 32, so a little bit down there, I guess, possibly down to their armor. At 65, encumbering them and not allowing them to charge. They have 90 health. They've got 45 missile block chance and 48 morale as well at base, which is very, very nice. But yeah, those are all of the shock and sort of axe units. A very, very nice unit. That's for sure. At the end there, the Lords of Mess. You can bring this unit as a general as well, along with if you didn't want to bring a unique general. But there you go. Those are all of those units. Now move on to the spears and the polearms. So, because of Pinnath Gelin having such a huge roster, I've actually not started with the cheapest spear. There is another cheaper spear. I can't remember the name off the top of my head now, but there is an even lower one than this one. But I felt like I'd get rid of that unit and add in a different unit, which I think you guys would rather look at. But there is a cheaper sort of like peasant type spear unit that Pinnath Gelin does have available. But I doubt you'd see it that much on the battlefield anyway. But it is available in their roster. Pinnath Gelin has a lot of spears. It's another one of their sort of strengths. Because they do have Pinnath Gelin spears in base game. So it's kind of like what they bring to the table for Gondor. And this is the Pinnath Gelin Spearman here. It's the basic spear unit that is on offer here today. It's a tier 2. You probably would see this quite a lot, actually, I feel like, in battles for Fiefs of Gondor. But yeah, got some decent stats there. 25 melee attack, 32 bonus versus Cav, 54 melee defense. Is not bad, you know, for a tier 2 heavy spear unit. I feel like these tier 2 heavy spear units are actually kind of handy. That's for sure. We've got the Ramgal and Watchman, so it's the same as the Maceman unit, but they just instead they've got a spear. So yeah, they've got 62 melee defense, which is an improvement there. 80 health, 45 armor. A solid unit. You'll probably see these guys equally as much as well, because these are, yeah, a solid unit to bring, to be honest. And they look great. I really do like the color scheme and the armor type they're going for.
I will kill any man who
just give like a very late medieval look. But then the final unit over here is another very elite looking spear. This is a final spear unit anyway. So these are the Masters of the Green Hills. The 36 melee attack. We've got 72 melee defense. Look at that bar. It's full. That is. That's insane. We've got health at 85. I'm surprised it's not a little higher, to be honest, for a tier 4 unit like this. And also a spear unit. But yeah, 45 missile block chance. Yeah, this is going to be a nasty, nasty unit to try and get through. And then we've got 48 morale there as well. And then we have over here, we have a cheap old halberd unit. This is the first of the polearms. It is a peasant unit. So it's the Teodorath Runen Peasantry. Just literal peasants that you can bring to the battlefield. They've got some terrible stats there. But they're pretty quick. They're 40 for speed. But yeah, 27 melee attack. I'm surprised they even have that much. Yeah, literal peasants just out of their fields going into battle there. And then over here we do have Pinnath Gelin long spears. So this is like an actual sort of polearm unit. I think, yeah, they're not pike unit. This is an actual polearm. Nice. Do like them. 32 melee attack. Bit of an improvement there on the peasants. They have bonuses versus beasts of 18 and bonus versus cav of 14. So you don't have to see that bonus of versus beasts stat there, but there you go. Very handy to have, and that's going to be very good for taking on trolls and elephants. And that's for sure. And then over here is the final polearm that we have, which is the Green Hill Guardian. So again, similar sort of stats of 18 and 14 for beasts and cavalry, 44 melee attack, and then they've got armor of 50, melee defense 56. It's a solid unit, that's for sure as well. And now we are going to move on to the next category, which, as I'm sure you can guess, is the range category of bows and crossbows. So here we are with the bows. So we'll again start with the cheapest one to work our way up. And yeah, as we go on, they're going to go from being bows to crossbows, because that's another thing that Pinnath Gelin really excels in. It's definitely giving sort of like a medieval sort of vibe, sort of like, you know, big heavy shields, like spearmen, sorry, and also crossbows. It's kind of what they kind of give off of the vibe of. But we're starting with the bows anyway. We have the Esterwine Shepherds. Well, that's a bit of a tongue twister, I won't lie there. But yeah, 16 ammunition. So evidently, Blackroot Vale having 18 ammo. That's a faction bonus. That's cool. They have range of 150. Not so great for these archers here. But yeah, pretty you know, basic archer. You might see these guys being brought. Some people do the strategy of bringing cheap archers and then, you know, not bringing like good ones instead and just spending their money on better infantry. We do have another one here. We have the Green Crest Trackers. Look a little bit, you know, a little bit better armored, but not really. Again, they got 200 range though. These guys, they don't have 150, and still have that 16 ammo. Health 84, very odd choice, but there you go. Not 85 or 80, 84, right down the middle. But yeah, there you go. There are those. We're gonna fly through these archers because there are a lot of them to go on to. We have now moved on to the crossbows. We're now on to Anunalon crossbows. So, like I said, this is kind of where the Pinnath Gelin sort of excels in. And you might see this one being brought quite a bit. It's a tier 2 crossbow, 140 range. That's the only downside of crossbows, and less ammo for 14 as well. So, but they do have good armor piercing. Those arrows will punch through armor, and they're good things for killing trolls and mummoks, and just any heavily armored unit, to be honest, like cavalry. But yeah, that is the first of the crossbows. The next one over here is a lot more armored, as you can see. These guys look very much like they're out of the medieval period from 1212, but they're the Ramgarlan heavy crossbows. Ramgarlan really producing some of the finest looking troops around. But yes, again, same sort of stats for range and ammo. They've got, you know, a little bit more sort of armor going on over here as well. 45, weapon damage 26. I don't know if that's their sword or if that's their bow. I imagine it's their sword. But yeah, those are all their stats there. They look like they could hold up okay in a melee fight. And they got a shield on their back, so, you know, I have a little bit of help there on the missile block chance. Look at these guys. These guys are dripped out in gold armor as well. The Vigilance of Pinnath. They are a tier 4 heavy crossbow unit. I'm surprised they don't have more range or something like that. But yeah, they are insanely good. A 42 melee attack, 62 melee defense. Some stats there to keep an eye on. And then morale of 48 as well. Very, very nice. But yeah, very cool unit there. And it's not the final one either. And these guys are, I think, even better than the ones before. These are the Saith and Dost Arblasters. But I think these guys are technically like it's better in some ways. They have 59 base morale. That bar is full to the brim. Look at that. 45 melee attack. Less melee defense, that's for sure. But yeah, they got 16 ammo, 175 range, which I don't think the gold... No, they didn't. So yeah, they have better range. So they have a trade-off. So the golden ones are better melee, but these guys are better range. But yeah, very, very cool units, that's for sure. And those are all of the bows. And now we'll move on to the cav. So here we are with the mace cav. Like I said, Pinnath Gelin really loves its maces. So yeah, we have some melee cav here. To start off with the Mengarlan Road Patrol. It's a melee cav unit. 35 melee attack, 21 bonus versus infantry. 55 melee defense. It's really where melee cav excels. Health 170, and then its morale's at 37, so it's not too bad, not too insane either. But yeah, pretty solid sort of tier 3 melee cav there. Then we have a spear cav. So this is the unit I decided to bring in instead of having the really cheap like spear. We have the Mester Hired Riders. It's a spear cav unit. It's got 31 melee attack, 25 bonus versus cavalry, melee defense 59. Again, it's kind of like a melee cav, but it's just a spear variant. So it does a few different things. So it's better against cavalry than it is against infantry. Its missile block there 46, health 170, speed 65. Pretty solid unit. And then finally, the general that we have here today, a unique general, is Herluin the Fair. We have seen him before in many a battle already. There he is in action. I think he's got his own unique sort of bodyguard. Doesn't say what it is, but it doesn't look like it's the hired spears. But yeah, he's got 35 melee attack, 25 bonus versus cavalry, 62 melee defense, charge bonus 70. Yeah, really solid unit, his bodyguard there. That is all of Pinnath Gelin. And now we'll move on to the final faction for this update, and that is Anfalas. So here we are with Anfalas, the final faction in today's Gondor update. And yes, it's looking like it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. I'll look to some of the units. Very, very interesting faction. But these are the trained... These are the trained axe band. That's a lie. That's the next unit along. I'm just kind of spoiled that there. These are the Cum Erelaid Barrow Guard. I don't even know if that's how you
enemy
say it, but there
tremble
you go.
before our
That is
superior numbers.
the unit here. They're already hidden as well. They're a tier 4 heavy melee infantry unit, so already starting with a tier 4.
Swordwork soon
It's the only sword unit available for Anfalas, so maybe why it's tier 4. But yeah, 50 melee attacks, insane. 0 bonus versus infantry. No point even putting the stat there, to be honest. 57 melee defense, 36 weapon damage. How much morale have they got there? 50 morale, 85 health. Yeah, armor 35. But yeah, I guess they're hidden. They stay hidden until like probably the very, very last moment. Can't really see them very clearly, but looking pretty cool, that's for sure. Do like the look of them. The next unit along is the trained axe band. We are now moving on to axes, as like I said, there is only one sword unit available. But these guys are very cool as well. Big fan of them. Okay, trained axe band there. 31 melee attack, 45 melee defense, weapon damage 32, and then yeah, missile block chance 38, and morale at 34. So a very colourful look as well to them. I love the sunny shields they got going on there. These guys a little less colourful, but still looking pretty, still pretty vibrant with the blues and oranges going on there. But these are the Aerost sergeants. They've got 28 melee attack, which is less actually than the trained axe band. Yeah, that is. These guys are in theory more expensive. That's why they're in this order. They have less melee attack, 47 melee defense, 51 morale. So a little bit. They have definitely got better morale. That's for sure. 40 morale. Yeah, health 80. So yeah, I don't know why you necessarily bring these guys up. Maybe we bring the trained axe band, I think, for the melee attack. But maybe I guess better melee defense. Yeah, only slightly though. Interesting. That's for sure. Why you bring those? I mean, the Anfalas retainers here. Again, 38 melee attacks. So yeah, or these guys actually, head and shoulders above any axes we've already seen. These retainers, they do look very nice as well. 32
Seniors,
weapon damage,
look to
same
your
as the other
men
ones
now.
that came before. 48 melee defense, ever so slightly better than the not the trained axe band, the other one. There's so many names. And Eros sergeants. Morale at 39 actually, so that's slightly worse than the Eros sergeants. Yeah, it is. Ever so slightly worse. Interesting. It's just interesting to see like how some of these units you go like slightly worse maybe unit, but it's gonna have better morale. Interesting. Yeah. So there you go. And then we now move on to the shock infantry. So we have the Anfalas peasant mob. Quite literally a peasant, but they've got fish hooks, which I quite like because Anfalas is a coastal sort of region. So yeah, very cool. I've got rid of a couple of the low tier units because there are so many units in this roster that there's more than 20. I mean, I guess could have done large armies, but I just decided I would just cut a few and just you guys can find out about them yourselves. We've got the Hammers of Lond Syrian. I'm going to go with. It's a tier 4 shock infantry, 55 melee attack, 40 melee defense, 36 weapon damage, armor of 60. Morale, it's 59, but it's actually base of 48. They look pretty cool though. I like this sort of helmet going on for like a face helmet, and then like sort of like the, I don't know what that type of helmet's called. Someone will be able to tell me, but they don't typically go together. But it kind of works. I quite like it. But anyway, we'll now move on to the spears and the pole arms. So here we are with the first of 2 spear units. This is the Pathferan Spear Militia. They're called. So they are a tier 2 spear unit. So far, other factions have had some pretty solid tier 2 spear units. I would say that this one's, it's okay. Melee attack 22, not so great. Melee defense is still pretty solid at 52. Missile block chance 38. Morale 45. And it does have a bonus against cavalry of 32, which is pretty solid actually as well. Very, very nice there. So yeah, that is the Pathferan Spear Militia. We then have the Barad Fean Beacon Guard. I love this shield. That is a very, very nice shield. Look at that. That's really nice. That's the sort of level of effort I'm liking to see that the mod is trying to bring out. But yeah, very cool looking at the Beacon Guard here. 32 melee attack, so a bit better there. Melee defense 59, bonus versus cav still 32. But yeah, armor 30, which is not that great. They are only a medium spear, I guess. But even still, I'd up that a little bit, I would have thought, if I was a medium spear. Missile block 58, which makes no surprise, because they've got a massive shield here. Morale saying 52, but that's going to be 41 on base. And yeah, health 83, a very odd number, but I'm sure there's reasoning for it. It's not 80 or 85, just 83. Very, very odd. And then we'll now move on to the first of, well, I think it's the only polearm actually. I'll take it back. These are the Wardens of Longarlan. So yeah, probably have heard of Longarlan already. It's a map that we played on many a time. But yeah, these are the guys that defend it. 45 melee attack for the Wardens. They have 18 bonus versus beast, 12 bonus versus cavalry, which is less than Pinnath Gelin had with his polearms. 55 with the melee defense. We have weapon damage 36, armor of 60, and then morale is looking at 48. And they have 85 health as well because they are a tier 4 unit. And then the other unit we have here is a pike unit. It's the Anfalas pike men. So we have these guys are medium pike infantry, 24 melee attack, 27 bonus versus beast, 16 bonus versus cav, and then a melee defense of 31. And yeah, weapon damage 18. So yeah, they do a lot less damage to pikes to polearms, but they have better bonuses it seems versus beasts and cavalry than polearms do. I guess that makes sense. They have a longer reach. We'll now move on to the missile units for Anfalas. So these are the first bow unit. They were actually just talking about having a cup of wine in their villa with the NPCs, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, I'd like a cup of wine in a villa right about now. It'd be lovely. But trained bow band is this unit. It's got 200 range, 16 ammunition. That's pretty much the base there. They have 28 melee attack, 43 melee defense, in fact. But yeah, pretty solid unit. It's just, yeah. I wouldn't say it's a pretty average bow unit. I wouldn't say it's what they are known for as Anfalas. They're known for something a little bit different, but we'll get onto that in a moment. Another bow unit here, the Nan Ifaroth Hunters. This is melee attack 31, melee defense 41, range 200, ammunition 16. But yeah, these guys are, if anything, lesser, but they are on the more expensive side. But yeah, and they've got like a wicker shield going on their back, which I don't know why it's kind of making me think they look a bit like a mutant ninja turtle. Just a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of what Anfalas is known for. Again, Anfalas has got Javies, Anfalas Coast Levies, which I haven't put in this unit, in this unit review because they're already in the game. But yeah, they're Anfalas is known for its Javies. It's a coastal faction. They bring a lot of Javies to the fort, and Gondor does actually have them in their base game roster. But yeah, trained javelin band this is. This has got 28 melee attack, 43 melee defense. Javies of 8, so it's got more Javies than most factions because that's what they're known for. Range of 70. But yeah, that's really cool to see they've got a bit more in the way of the javelins than maybe other factions would. And we've got the Nan Ifaroth skirmishers. 70 range again, 8 ammunition, 31 melee attack, 37 melee defense. Again, got a bit of a wicker shield going on. I guess it's maybe just the region they're from. It's maybe they all looking at like their resources. And then over here we do have the final unit here, which I think is another Javi unit by the looks of it. Oh no, these are slingers! Anfalas stone skippers. We don't see slingers ever in Dawnless days, but another cool unit. But that would make sense as well. Skipping stones, on the coast, turn them into slingers. That's a really cool unit. But yeah, tier 3, these guys have 24 ammunition, which is more than any other range unit has. So some of that slingers do have the asset elf. Range 150, so they're down the sort of like just above crossbows, but below bows. And then we have melee attack 32, melee defense 42, weapon damage 32. Not bad at all. But those are all the range units, and now we'll move on to the cavalry. So here we are with the cavalry. So this is a little bit of a, just a melee cav unit here. The coastal messengers, the Langstrand coastal messengers. Yeah, but they look. I would say Anfalas doesn't look like it's well known for its cavalry. It's giving that sort of vibe, sort of like being very much an axe and a range like a Javi sort of faction. I think they're certainly going to be one of the weak factions, in my opinion, at least. But we'll have a look, see what the cav they have got to offer. But yeah, melee cav here, missile block chance of 43 is pretty good actually. Speed 95, 145 health, 26 melee attack, bonus versus infantry 15, 42 melee defense. Pretty solid unit, but yeah, pretty lightly armored. I do like that they all have these like their badges just like they're on their jerkins. Kind of makes it look like a football shirt. I don't know why, but it does. For me. Anyway, we've got a spear cav unit here. This is the Marshals of Menfalas. These guys look very, very nice. But yeah, 25 melee attack, 25 bonus versus cavalry, 51 melee defense, charge bonus 60, health 150, speed 85. Yeah, pretty solid cav unit. Most spear cav, I feel like, is around that sort of mark when it comes to stats. But yeah, they look very, very nice. And then, what do we have over here? Looks like we're going to have a lot of Javi cav, I'd imagine. Yeah, these are the Riders of Mengal, and it's a Javi cav unit. I kind of expected this to be a coastal levy, like cav. Sorry, not coastal levy Javis and stuff like that. Lots of Javis are in Anfalas' roster, so this makes sense. Ammo of 8, range 70, speed 95. I'd put that speed up a little bit, make these guys really, really quick. Health 145, yeah, melee attack 20, defense 35, weapon damage 32. They're not really going to be doing too much in protecting themselves, that is for sure. And then the final unit over here is a unique general, and we do have, who do we have here? We have Lord Golazgil. Very, very nice. There he is with his mace. Here's a heavy cav unit. Again, I don't think he has a name for his bodyguard. It's a shame. I feel like it's something they should add. I think it would just be called like Lord's Bodyguard or something like that. But yeah, melee attack 35, bonus versus cavalry 25, melee defense 59, charge bonus 70, health 165, his morale 61, but base 45, which it's probably going to be 61 most of the time. Missile block chance 46. Yeah, that is Lord Golazgil. Very, very cool unit. And that is the final unit we're showing off in today's Fiefs of Gondor update. I hope you did enjoy this. It's a very long-winded video, and hopefully I haven't nattered on too much. And if you've got to the end of the video, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. If you do want to see more Dawnless Days action, do check out some of the videos appearing on your screen now. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, that little like button. Maybe leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite unit is. And feel free to subscribe as well as we work towards 13k subs as well. It'd be very much appreciated. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.
Ready?